What's up, everybody? This is your girl Shannon at Can We Talk Sports. I'm here with my host. We're going to start with... Oh, see, y'all, we got to get this together. How long have we been doing this?
We were supposed to practice, y'all, in the beginning.
Wait, I feel delayed. Like,
Lord have mercy. Okay, we're going to start with Karen first. Okay. Carmen and then... Okay, ready? All right. Okay. What's up, everybody? This is your girl Shannon at Can We Talk Sports. I'm here with my host.
hey, what's up, everybody? It's Karen. I'm in the house, baby. K-Dog, what's up?
Karen. You took about how many seconds? About 25 seconds to even.
What?
You're supposed to hit it. You were like, this is K-Dog. Right? Like. All right.
And she's on a delay. Delayed. It must be something going on.
Oh, she's on a delay. Okay.
She's on a delay.
All right.
Okay, and I'm Carmen. I'm Carmen, a.k.a. Mama D.
All right, and we have...
Stacy. Hey, y'all. Glad to be back.
Oh, my God. What's up, everybody? This is hilarious. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you? How was your weekend?
Interesting. Well, I'm good. Actually, my daughter sprained her ankle today in a game, so we gotta go. Yeah, we gotta go get it checked out tomorrow. Get an MRI, but
okay.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm good. You see, I changed my setting.
I see that. I love it.
I kind of like this feel, so I'm pretty excited about this new look. So,
relax, chill.
Yes, relaxed and chilling and everything else. So, how are you guys doing?
Good.
I'm good. I was mamager today. CJ has an audition tomorrow, and so an hour of rehearsing turned into 2, because he hasn't really been auditioning since he was younger. But so he was trying to be a perfectionist. Okay, Mom, did you like it? Did you like it? Let me do it again. So it's fun. So it's fun to kind of be going back and doing that with him and just, see what happens.
Okay.
How old is he, Stacy? How old is he?
He just turned 24. So
wow.
Yes. So he hasn't acted since he was probably about 12.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Wow. So they, they're welcoming him. They're really welcoming him back. They said that Hollywood's been waiting for him. So so with COVID and football being delayed, it makes you kind of tap into your other gifts. So that's what he's decided to do while he, waits for the call, and we'll see what happens. So we're excited.
Okay. And what about you, Carmen?
Oh, I had a quiet weekend. Watched a lot of sports.
I know sports. There was some upsets.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you
Yes.
lost. Oh, you lost, y'all.
I know. I couldn't believe that.
I'm having a moment.
To Kansas State,
like,
right?
like they were
Yeah.
Yeah.
winning. They were winning so well.
They
You
Like,
know
got the
what?
I
big
don't know what
head.
happened.
But you know
When
what?
Big
This
head.
is a. That's what I was getting ready to say. I
Yeah.
need them to stop getting cocky, right? So like
Yeah.
you win, and all of a sudden your chest come out, and it's like, dude, you don't put your chest out to it says 0 and the game is over
Mhm.
right,
Right.
all
Mhm.
the time is gone.
Mhm. Mhm.
all the
And you
time,
know how it is. It's hard when you're like a ranked team, number 5, and
right?
get hyped for a team that's not ranked. You know how that is. You're like, oh, we got this. We gonna win. And so the momentum, the adrenaline is different. But you got to learn
Mm-hmm.
Right,
how to psych yourself up and have that adrenaline no matter who you're playing. You know.
right,
Right,
So
right. Play,
yeah,
always play up, don't play down.
that's right.
yeah.
And then they
Right.
don't have. Think about it. They don't have as many fans, so you don't
Mm-hmm.
I
have the
know, and that's
cheering.
tough. That's that you don't
That is
have that.
tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
seen some of the fans in
Mhm.
some of the games, and it is
Mm-hmm.
tough because you don't have that momentum. You don't have that crowd like
That
literally,
Right.
push.
especially that
Mhm.
push, right?
Mhm.
So it's a
Mhm.
little tough, but
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's that
So
12th
Yeah.
man.
That's 12th man. Yep.
yeah,
That's
Yep.
yeah.
it. You're really
So
gonna see how important it is to have the 12th man right now in these
Yeah.
Right.
games.
yeah,
Yes.
Right.
yeah. It's important.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
very important. We was at our daughter's game this weekend, and it's not that crowded, but it still is crowded. And everybody has masks on. I didn't want to yell with a mask on, y'all. I really wanted to take it off, but it's like you don't get. I mean, there's no. It's not fun. It's hot.
Right.
You smelling
Mhm.
your own. It's just like I don't know.
Mhm. And you know
You
you
smell
like to
your
get
own
caught,
breath.
Shannon.
Smelling your own
You
breath.
know.
And now listen, my breath ain't funky, but I'm just saying it's hot because you got the mask on, right? And you
Right.
yelling, and the
Yeah.
heat just,
Yes.
it's like the
Yeah.
And
heat
it's
come back.
hot. Yes.
Yeah.
So wait,
Mhm.
listen. So my husband is so funny. He hates these things. I mean, it's just like so. He had his on his chin, right? And the lady comes over and she's like, I'm gonna need you to put it over your face. So if looks could kill, he gave her this look like, are you serious? Like I'm sitting right here, ain't nobody around me. Are
Right.
you, are you for real? And he just looked at her, and then he went on and put it on though. But it was funny because you do get irritated when they ask,
Right.
and I know they're trying to be protective. You hear what I'm saying? But it's just at a game,
Right.
that's like distraction,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Yeah.
gotta yell,
Yes.
Mhm.
and I don't think they can
Especially
hear
when you really
me.
want to get into it. When you really want to get
Right?
into
The rest can't hear me when I say
it.
you can't see.
See, the mask serves its
I
purpose.
the what?
Woo.
They can't hear me when I tell them to go put your glasses on.
Right.
Right? Like
Right.
so, I just kind of sat
Oh,
there. I did my little clapping, and
You
it
I'm
wasn't
guys,
the
having fun
same.
for you.
have
It
you?
wasn't fun. No, it
Right.
wasn't
It does
fun.
take the fun out of it. It does take
It
the fun.
takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
You can't get
Mhm.
into it. Because
Mhm.
can you imagine yelling? You need your glasses on. They're looking at. What did you say? They can't
Right.
hear
What?
you.
Right. So you know what? I didn't think about this, but are the cheerleaders wearing masks or are they distancing? Because how
You
you
know
gonna cheer
what?
with a mask on?
I don't know. That's
I saw
interesting.
the college, the teams, the cheerleaders had the masks on. I
Oh
saw the
Really?
no.
college.
So what you gonna hear me say? You can't hear me do the defense cheer. You can't hear me do the offense cheer.
You can't
Right.
hold the
Oh
megaphone.
man,
Right.
man,
Right.
With the mask on.
Yeah. That would seem like that would be a little bit difficult.
that would be
Move on.
difficult.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The
So
Yeah.
band, how the band gonna play the instrument? I ain't think
well,
about
They
they
that
do.
either.
they
I
They
do
think they
take
moved
it.
it down.
they take
Yeah,
them
they
off.
take it down.
They
Okay.
take them
Yeah.
off.
And
Yeah.
they
And
probably distance and all that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
take
yes,
them off. But
yes.
still,
And
yeah.
they had them
It's,
spread out. But then after they get done playing, they got to put it back on.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
yeah.
That makes
It's
But
sense.
anyway.
I need to ask y'all, have y'all walked into somewhere and people are just looking at you crazy? And you're like, why is everybody looking at me so crazy? And then like 5 minutes later, you realize that you had your mask. down here and not over your face?
No, because listen, let me tell you
That's
something.
right.
It happened to me twice.
No, here, like where we are in Texas, right? Like in some of the stores, like Quick Trip,
Uh-huh.
there's people just walk in, they don't even have a mask on. It's like, I
Yeah,
wish she
you
would
too.
ask me to put it on. I wish she would
Right.
ask me to put it on.
Right.
There's people who don't put their mask on. I've seen it left and right. And I guess they're saying because so many people were getting hurt. And I can understand it's the clerk, they're asking you. They're only doing their job. You can't really get mad at them because they're really only doing their job. But I guess people that they're asking are either fighting them, people have got shot, so they're just like, you know what, if somebody comes in without a mask, don't say
leave
anything.
them alone.
Just,
We're going to look at them crazy. Just leave them alone.
Just look at them, just leave them alone. So.
And nowadays, you're scared to get people a look, Connie, because that look can turn into some crazy things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They follow you to your car, follow you home, So the pandemic makes everybody a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
So, now indoor, like I said, basketball is different. Football, I go to my son's first game tomorrow, the Twins. So it may be different. Yeah. So it may be different. Yeah. Because if they're going to make me wear a mask at that game, let me tell you something. They might not want to do that. We outside. Move away from, I need to yell. I need to tell the boy to run. I need to tell him to tackle. I need to say something, y'all. Outside is hot and you.
Right. You need you to get a mask. You need to get a hole in it. Or, what we need to do is make you a Velcro. You need a Velcro where you can get.
Snap.
That's it, Stacey.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
You came up with it.
Hold on, Stacey. Now, your son, because both of our sons are dealing with the free agent. Y'all think Stacey gonna wear a Velcro mask if she go to a NFL game?
No.
No.
No, you're right. I'm not.
No. I'm not either.
No, ain't happening. Too excited. I get too nervous and too excited.
I know.
So I usually sit. I don't know about you, but I usually sit by myself. I've done that since he probably was in really little league because I'm not one of the moms like you can't say nothing about my child, and not that especially over and over, because I'm like, okay, you're not out there, and have you ever? So people just don't know. Sometimes they have no clue on what to say around parents.
One of the moms.
I just will listen to like.
Oh Lord!
I will do what say. I will.
Stacey, one of them mamas, she will clap back at you. What did you say?
Clap back.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
I'm his mama.
Yes.
Right.
Like, you didn't say nothing about that touchdown. How about that? How about that run back?
I can't go to no game with you. I'll be sitting like, Lord, Stacey. My sister like that. I told her, I said, oh my God, when my son went, first to the Kansas, and she's like, let me hear somebody say something. And I was like, you can't say nothing. You got to just be chill. Oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna say sauce. Oh Lord.
I mean, if we don't protect them, who will? Sometimes people like, I definitely could not be the quarterback's mom. That's
no.
I know. That's hard.
He has to have tough skin, and usually the quarterback's mom never sits with the,
Okay, wait, but let me ask you this question. Let me ask y'all these questions. Y'all know y'all done said something about somebody else's kid, ain't y'all?
Yeah.
No.
It sure is quiet in this Presbyterian church right now. It sure is quiet.
Yeah. Under my breath.
No.
Under my breath. Like, I never said it out loud.
Why did it go
out loud?
Not out loud. Under my breath, like, ooh.
Wait, Carrie, you said that up there.
What about you, Shannon?
What happened?
Yes, she has.
Well, you talking about somebody's kid.
I didn't talk about him, y'all. Listen, I just said he needed to do a little bit better.
No, I said the whole O-line. O-line. Block somebody, baby. Block somebody. That's what I said.
Oh.
I
I
plead
don't
the
call
fifth.
nobody
I
out.
plead the fifth. Okay, I ain't gonna call nobody out. All right, ladies, listen, we're gonna move on. I'm excited because see, we've been laughing. So our guest we have is not only a recruiter, but we just found out he's a comedian. So this show, we're about to be literally laughing, right? Like this is about to be crazy. So we will be right back after this.
Yeah, so recently I was at the Arizona State University with a number of young men that we brought with us to visit the university. 2-day trip. We were down there looking at Arizona and Arizona State. And so first stop was Arizona State coming into Phoenix from California. And while we were there, it was so great because they put us in a room and they wanted to talk to the boys and they really wanted to motivate the young men that we brought. These were all pretty much high school athletes, high school football players. And a good friend of mine that I grew up with and lived with in Phoenix when I lived there some time ago named Gene Boyd, who works at the school, he got up and he did an exercise with the boys. And he was trying to motivate them, and it was a good exercise. The exercise was, he told them to close their eyes and imagine success. He told them to imagine being on this Pac-12 team and running out and all your family is in the stands and imagine, playing here, scoring touchdowns, getting interceptions, making tackles. Imagine that success. He said, imagine then graduating and walking across the stage. And then he told the boys, open your eyes. And he asked them, he said, how did that feel? And everybody was like, good, that felt good. And while I was sitting there, I was looking in the room and I was looking at these young men, and that's good. I thought that was a great little exercise that he did with them, and it brings about, it gets some juices going. I said, but there was something missing, something was in there. And real quick, I said, man, you know what? What if we turn that into reverse? And we really could get something out of these young dudes. We really can put something in them that when they go back, because when they go back home and they go back to their high school, everybody imagines playing on the great level and everybody imagines, all the good stuff and all the successes. But I said, what if we had them close their eyes? What if you close your eyes right now and you imagined failure? What if we use that as the thing that's going to drive us? If we close our eyes and imagine not making it? What if we imagine not scoring that touchdown and not doing what we needed to do to get to?
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Welcome to the show. How do you say your name? First name again? Dejon.
Dejon.
There it is. I want to make sure I say it right. Dejon. All right, listen. Before we get into it, because that was a powerful video. So before we get into Dejon, before we get into the video, I would like to play a game called Would You Rather. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right, Karen, go ahead with your first one.
You want to play the video? You wanted to play the video?
You can do the video or you can go right on into it.
Okay.
All right, Karen, go ahead.
Okay. Would you rather find true love today or win the lotto next year?
That's for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for you.
All of Would You Rather's is for you.
So what I
Yeah.
Well, I've been married 21 years. So I found true love, so I want the money.
Whoa. Well, you go for the money.
Money, money, money.
All right. Which group would you like to join? Would you fight with? All right. The Avengers, Justice League, X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, Defenders, or the Fantastic Four? If you could join a group, which one would you join?
Probably the Avengers.
The Avengers.
Okay. Okay. You do the Avengers. I think I got to go with Wonder Woman and
Oh
Superman
yes,
and all of them.
yes,
So
yes.
Oh,
That's more my age bracket, I guess. But the Avengers, I don't know. I
That's a
just
good
like
one.
them right now. I like Iron Man for some reason.
yeah, Black Panther.
Everybody
Iron
say
Man.
Iron Man. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, I have one. Okay, talking about superheroes. What would you rather? Fly or be invisible?
Oh, oh man, that's tough because I've always wanted to fly.
Mm,
Yeah, as long as I know how to land, I'm gonna be all right. Then
right?
yeah,
Where
because
you trying to fly to?
flying is cool if you know how to land, but if you don't know,
Right.
Yeah. If you don't
You
know
can't
how to land,
stop.
if you don't know how to land, you in trouble.
You
but
in
am I
trouble.
am I a superhero with this, or do I
Yeah.
just have these powers?
Yeah, you're superhero.
Superhero.
I'll fly because I want to be good. Because if I start thinking about being bad, if I'm invisible, I be wanting to steal stuff.
Man, what you say? What you say?
Y'all
I'm
gonna
just
be a
if I'm
thief.
invisible, I'm gonna go into some banks. I'm gonna be a
What?
rich man.
I was sitting there thinking the same thing. I was sitting there thinking the same thing. I was like,
So I'm like,
let me
Me
think
let me
about this.
too.
good
And then
superhero,
wait,
I'm gonna fly. But if
and then you gotta go repent.
no, I'm gonna repent now. I want to be invisible. There's a couple of people I want to
Right?
Oh, you trying to slap some folks? You trying to get some revenge?
There's some people doing this political time. I'm not gonna do it. I just want to just
Right.
be
Right.
Wait,
Or just be in the room so you can hear what they saying for real.
Right.
For
I
real,
want to
for
lead
real.
Right.
somebody up and they don't know how am I in the air. I just want to do that.
see me being invisible, I'd probably slap a ref and he wouldn't even know. Pop,
See,
pop.
I would trip a few defenders.
Come
You know what I'm
on,
saying?
what?
So my son, I'd be like, woo,
Yeah, there it is. I would
Hey,
go up.
I
Go
carry
with
that ball, make sure it get to my son's hand.
I'd be the real
Oh,
12th man. I'd be out there blocking and everything. Nobody
What?
knows.
Hey, and when my
Right.
daughter go to drop that three, I'll make sure it hit that basket. Woo.
oh,
Yeah,
That's
I don't need to be invisible, y'all.
That's a
Oh my
mama.
gosh, yes.
That's
Yeah.
a mama.
I don't need to
That's
be
that
invisible.
that's that Wonder Woman mama always trying to make
Right.
sure we make it
I
happen.
know. That's
Mhm.
that's why I don't need to be invisible. All right,
right.
anybody else? Because I got another one. Anybody
Harvey, you
else?
took mine. Mine is okay. So with all the knowledge that you have now, all that good stuff you didn't learn, would you want to be where you are now and go forward with the knowledge, or would you want to go back at a certain age with all the
That's
knowledge you
good.
have now?
Oh man.
that's a good one.
I try to live with no regret. So
Okay,
I'll just go from now
go
on. 'Cause
forward.
I
Okay,
think everything was all about getting here. It's all for our learning. So I'll just say
okay,
that. I want to go back.
good. Okay,
You wish you would, but I'm okay. It's all part.
okay, good. Okay.
Okay. All right. Would you rather drive a 1967 SS or would you rather drive a Lamborghini 2020?
Yeah, I like the new stuff. I'm sorry. I'm a
Oh, what?
Yes, that Lambo. Yes.
That's
No,
cool.
you gotta go 67 Chevy. You gotta go Chevy.
No.
Okay. They say Lambo.
Gotta get out that Lambo.
Well, listen.
That's right.
Well, when your Lambo, when your Lambo, like if everything goes haywire with the the computers and all that, and your Lambo sitting on the side, my Chevy gonna pass you by and be like,
Remember, I'm invisible, so I just go get it.
Right. Right. You got to get it.
My
oh,
car
man.
broke down. I'm going to get another one.
All right.
I love it. Love it.
That's I'll be taking all kind of cars. All right, so let's moving on forward. Your speech was very powerful. failure. It's man, I'm actually going to have my young guys watch that. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to move forward into who you are, because that right there is people are afraid of failure.
Mhm.
They think if they fail, or they look at failure as defeat.
Mhm.
So I want you to explain a little bit about that, and then we can kind of move on about what you do and who you are. But I want to start off with that right there about failure, because especially with the COVID situation, especially with a lot of athletes who are still free agents, that are just wanting to, they're feeling like I failed. They're feeling like I'm not good enough, and everything that's going on. So kind of let's talk about that subject real quick.
That really came out of I'm a biblical man, so I'm spiritual. I love the Lord, and so that really came out of the fact that it was really short testimony. I was in a job interview, interviewing a guy that was going to take over a department for admissions, and while he was talking, he talked about everything he did. When you're in a job interview, everybody wants to sell themselves about how great and why we should hire this guy, why he should be the guy. And so everyone in the room, I went last, asked him about his former jobs and what he did. And he was just this amazing candidate. And I said, you really want to know people, you really want to know who they are, ask them about their failures. Most of the time, people don't like to tell you what they failed at. And when I deal with this generation, I always talked about myself, like, what did I think about when I was 16, 18, 22? I always heard the guys that I worked around always talked about, yeah, I was successful here, and that's why I'm here today. And I'm like, well, when I read about Benjamin Franklin, I read about the Apostle Paul, these guys always told you about the things they failed at. Is why they were they are today. They don't tell you about how great they were. They tell you, Paul said, in one place, Paul talked about, I know what it is to be rich. I know what it is to be poor. I know what it is to be abound. I know what it is for godliness with contentment is great gain. And so I was like, he tells you about how he was at the stoning of Stephen. He tells you how he was the worst of worst. But this is why God chose me to be who I am today. And so I tell guys, you know what? Let failure be your driving force. I don't want to fail. I don't have the great is it Keenan Ivory Waynes, who told his father he was going to leave school, and his father said, "Well, son, I just want you to get your degree, so you can have something to fall back on. It's your plan B." He said, "Dad, I don't have a plan B," and he made it, and then made it for the family, and now everybody can ride because it was, I'm not going to fail. But I want, in this era, we have to we call this the reality generation. This is not the sitcom generation. We come from good times and the characters and all that. This generation is about reality, and the reality is you're going to make it. It's going to take you're going to have to endure some things before you get there. And it's okay that you didn't make that time. It's okay that you're sitting out this time. It's okay. We need to hear those stories. The kids need to hear those because they always hear how great somebody was.
That's good.
That's good. I was talking to somebody about that, and they're like, when people tell testimonies, it's kind of like, I don't know, Karen, was that me and you were talking about that? I think it was me and you were talking about that. When people tell testimonies, they tell all, look what God did, look what I got. I don't want to hear that. Tell me what you went through. Tell me the time it almost put you in the hospital, or tell me the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Don't tell me about how God blessed you. You got this house, you got this, and you're doing this. Because you didn't get it that easy. Tell me what you went through so I can understand and even get to the point where I'm like, God, do I really want to go through that? But tell me the truth. Tell me you almost lost your mind. Tell me it cost you this. Tell me, you lost a marriage, your struggles, your real struggles.
Right. And
Go ahead.
The Apostle Paul said it clear. He said, "Oh, wretched man that I am." He didn't say that I was.
Mhm.
We still learning. So
Mhm.
a lot of times when we able to get into it, these young people say, "Man, I battle just like you." That's
Right.
why I love the leaders that I have. They never made themselves feel like they weren't going through what I was going through, or they hadn't been through it.
Mhm.
And being a young guy growing up in church, you see guys in their suit and tie, and you start talking to a brother, and he starts saying, "Oh yeah, man, I did 20 years." And you like, "Huh, brother?
Mm.
Deacon so for
Yeah.
real?" And now you
Mhm.
got a whole nother respect for this guy because you like, I see you now. And that's what happens with a lot of one of the most untalked about sins is covetousness. People covet stuff that they of other people having, not knowing what they went through.
That's right.
Right. Right.
Oh, I
Just
want
see
to
the
be
end result.
I want my relationship
Mhm.
like that. Oh, that's
Mhm.
I see that now. Oh, relationship goals or whatever that's on TikTok. I'm like,
Right. Right.
you don't know what they arguing about.
Right.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of where that came from. I want the kids to be like, hey man, I'm not a great guy. I'm not as, I didn't get here like, on the cloud. It didn't happen like that. You know what I mean? So
And you have to
That's
be
good.
careful not to want what somebody else have, because you got to go through what
Right.
they went through to get what they got.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you
Right.
don't know what they went through. You literally, if you want what they have, then you have to go through what they went through to get what they got. So that means if they had to go through losing a spouse, if they had to go through losing a baby, if they
Wow.
had to go through losing a home, a bad car accident, whatever it is, because you want what they have,
right.
then you got to go through what they went through to get it. I don't want, because I don't know what price you had to pay. I
Right.
want only what's mine. So
That's
Mhm.
right.
yeah,
Mhm.
Wow. That puts
That's
things in perspective.
That's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. Everybody
Yep.
doesn't want to go through the process. They just want the finish line. You know what
The
I mean?
Yeah.
reward.
So,
The
and I
right.
think it
reward.
makes you relatable. What you said too is it makes you so relatable to be able to say, I was here. Now let me show you how to get to where we are now. You
Right.
know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's like, each one teach one, each one reach for one. So
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies got a question.
No, I'm ready to dig into recruiting.
All right, go
'Cause
ahead.
I want to know the truth about it. Because I know when my son was being recruited, everything I researched, it says that it's not up to the coach to get your son recruited. It is up to the parents.
Yeah.
So, first of all, tell a little bit about yourself and how you got into this, and then you can answer that.
So
Telling parents.
so I own California Recruits, which started out I got into it. I hear you guys talk about your sons playing ball. This is my background. I grew up in Los Angeles, moved to Pasadena with my dad. My parents split, and I moved to Pasadena. I came out of high school ranked one of the top 50 players in California in basketball. Ended up going to Fresno State, played in Fresno State, played. After that, I went and worked for a sports agent for 3 years, got paid for 5, thought I wasn't going to play ball no more. Made a travel team and went and played over in Japan, Australia, played 2 years with the Harlem Globetrotters, and then ended up, after working with the sports agent, I was like, man, I really like working with the professional guys. I made a little bit of money at 22 years old, but there's something about the kids. And God blessed me with, I did some research on a company called College Bound Student Athletes out of Cedarburg, Wisconsin. And I just read about it, sent off for this information, and then it said like 20%. And I was like, I'm not gonna do all this work and y'all gonna make some money. Wait a minute. So I ended up doing it myself, and I started Student Athlete Assisted Service in 1995 and started helping kids. And it grew from there. Then I got married and I moved my business to Denver. I got an investor who invested in our company, um, and it just kept growing. And then my family grew, got married, and I started having my kids. I have 3 sons, and we moved back to California, and I changed the name to California Recruits because I started understanding recruiting a little bit better about how in each region, each company, they love most of these colleges love recruiting California kids. I started understanding the difference with the regional recruiting from California, Texas, Florida, having, the top 3 states in recruiting. And right from there, the business grew. So as my sons grew, I didn't want them to raise them in LA. I moved a little ways out here to Bakersfield, about an hour and a half, 2 hours out of LA. And I happened to move into the largest school district in the United States per capita. Only 300,000 people live in Bakersfield, but we have 18 high schools. I started doing research in my area, and it was like 4 kids would go Division I. Out of 18 high schools, you have 4. I'm used to like one high school in LA having, 9 kids or 10 kids, 12 kids. And I'm like, how does only 4 kids? So this was kind of, Central California, so it became a flyover zone. And I just started working. I've been here 10 years, and in 10 years, I've changed, been able to change the recruiting scope in the area in just last year, 2018-19 class. I sent over 23 kids to college in this area, which was unheard of, 9 from one school. And then we've been doing 2, 3 schools every year. And now it's just a staple. You had to change. We had to really help change the mindset of the people in the town that we live in. So when you talk about recruiting from that standpoint, it's the parents. It's a lot of misnomers about recruiting in the industry, that mom and or that the high school coach does it, and that doesn't happen. And so what you have is a lot of misinformed parents, and so they wait. And what happens is when they get to that junior year, end of junior year going to senior year, they're like, we don't know what's going on. He's been in the paper, and a lot of people, a lot of coaches haven't changed with the times when it comes to recruiting. They just haven't. They think it's still the old. One of my biggest pet peeves is that if you're good, they'll find you. I'm like, dude, that's so 1970s. That don't happen.
Right. That don't.
That's not it. And they don't understand with social media. So there's a number of different things. I mean, whatever questions you have about that. I mean, that's the biggest part. I came from the VH1 years to the CDs to now the internet. I can get kids offers by telling them what they need to be doing on Twitter. We teach the social media side. There's another side of the biggest side is really understanding where your kid is. I mean, you got a kid that went to OU. Where did your kid go?
Notre Dame and SMU.
Karen.
Mine went to Shaw University.
Shaw
University of North Texas and University of Louisiana Monroe.
So you are. You got Shaw, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. You have one double. But the biggest thing is, I can tell you right now, the battle is the parents, and it starts on the youth level. Or Stacy, sitting away from everybody because you don't want to hear nobody talk about your kid. Go back to Shannon. We all done said something about somebody's kid. We all have.
No,
I understand, like mothers, like you ain't gonna talk about my baby, but it's the same with these dads. It's like they can critique everybody else, but you be like, yeah, your son need to get faster.
Right.
What you think, your son fast? I mean, I didn't say that.
Because he just got ran past.
Yeah. But the biggest part is the earlier you understand who and where your son is he Division I, AA, 2, NAIA? The doors open up because now we can deal with it realistically. And the problem is we have something called the 98 versus the 2%. And that is the real number is 1.6. Only 1.6% of the kids in the United States will obtain a Division I scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We say 2%. That means the 98%. The problem is 98% of the people walking around don't know they part of the 98%. They're still talking Oklahoma, Notre Dame when they should probably be talking Sacramento State, Fresno State. or maybe, you know, and if I asked any parent today, you know, hey, if I offered you $31,000 a year for your kid to go to a school that costs 40, could you finance the 9,000, you know, for the rest? Yeah, that ain't no problem.
No,
But
I can't. No.
yeah, but at the end of the day, what happens is people say, yeah, I'll take that money for college. Absolutely. When they've never heard of the school, when they've never heard of Ferris State, when they've never heard, like when you say Shaw, some people are like, what is Crenshaw? What's where?
Right. Right.
They don't know.
West Side.
Right. They like, oh, we want to play with Nipsey. Okay, all right.
Oh,
Yeah.
She said West Side. They start throwing up the finger. West Side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Right. So people don't know, and because they don't know, where kids are driven and parents are driven by what they see.
That's so true.
This COVID has helped a lot in us having to watch some games we normally wouldn't because everybody's right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch University of Texas San Antonio, but I'm watching because it's the only thing on, and now it opens up some other stuff. So this has helped. It's helped in that. And so North Texas State has been on here in California, 2 or 3 times already. I'm like, what's going on? Well, USC ain't playing.
Right.
So watch. So it opens up that there's other schools, because most of the time people don't think outside a 100-mile radius of where they are. It's USC, UCLA, it's Cal, it's just that. And that's just what it is. And when you start talking smaller, it's different. And then, you know, I'm talking to us and everybody, but with our people, it's we want what we want, and my son is just as good as so and so. And I don't understand why to recruit. Like, folks get mad at me about the recruiter, and I'm like, I don't have the scholarship. I bridge the gap between parent, kid, athlete, school, introduction. Well, why don't they like my son? Why, he better than him? I just saw that they offered him. Ma'am, your son 5'5", he's 6'7". Right. So people don't get into, like, they don't get into measurables. They don't understand that. So my job is really about teaching parents so they understand. I give 100% money back guarantee. If we don't get you an offer, you get your money back. Nobody does that in my industry. Nobody.
Wow.
But when I meet with you, I'm going to tell you right now, I have sent your information to 5 schools, a Division I, a Division II, a 1AA, some top guys, and I'll get a report back that says this kid is a Division II and 3 NAIA player. If you accept that, then you have to understand that's where we're going. I think one of the things I've learned in sales, don't be afraid to let somebody walk out the door. I can't say yes to everything because that becomes work for me, right? And okay, you want SC, I'm gonna try SC in Notre Dame and Oklahoma, and I'm gonna. Well, I don't understand why you can't get. He was in the paper. I don't care about the paper. You think the people in Oklahoma read the LA Times? They don't.
Right.
They don't.
That's good. That's good.
It's you know, that, I mean, that's one of the biggest things. But I got into it because I love it. I love recruiting. I love signing day. I love changing lives. I love seeing the parents, you know, and I got to do it. And I'm always safe because I started with my boys, non-measurable kids. My wife's a teacher, so I go right into it with the grades. If you don't have a 3.0, I can't work with you. I can't do magic tricks. I'm not a superhero.
Right.
So if I was invisible, I'd come in and change your grades for you.
That's what I was gonna say. You're invisible. You can change the grades. Right.
Can't do it. And so that's the biggest part of this, is that you do also, the toughest people are the people who have kids with 2.3 and 2.4 who think that you're supposed to be able to just do magic tricks, and you can't. But my sons, I started in this. My oldest son Isaiah is at Cal Poly. He broadcast communication major, cornerback, 5'9", 160 pounds. Division I AA. He had Arizona, all these other schools, and everybody says, well, why? Why? And we have to always understand our why. Why did he go there instead of Arizona? Because he wants to work for ESPN and he wasn't going to leave LA. And he has an intern with the NFL network. So he was going to stay at Cal Poly. 1% black graduate, he getting a job. That's why I would think I love the NFL. I hope, that's the blessing on top of the blessing, but I'm going to deal with the reality on top of the reality. I don't want you back at my house. Get you a job and go.
Right. And you have to, like you said, that was so good. Like you said, you have to know your athlete. Like for my son, academics was important. So the Stanford, Notre Dame, Duke were his top. And hindsight, looking back, then he went from Notre Dame and then SMU to get his master's. But hindsight, looking back, he was like, I picked Notre Dame because it was a great school and I wanted to be on national TV. Right. So that was great. But now he's like, I kind of wish I would have done Duke, because now, but in the situation that he is, they would have played him more like he is the slot and the things that he should have been playing instead of just, returner.
There it is. I mean, you learn. My second son, Isaac, is at University of Nevada. Here's a kid that had he went to Nike, he was an MVP, 4.4, 4.3 speed. He played slot. Had Oregon and all these schools, and he's at Nevada, and everybody did the same. And I said, well, the coach there, I know my son Isaac. He's a little P Diddy. He won't start the party. The coach that's there is no joke. He's an extension of me.
Yeah, he's a true.
It came down to him going to a school where I felt safe, and I knew this coach could thump him on top of the head like it ain't party. Time to do what you can do. The other places, he'd have washed out because his head would have kept going.
Right.
And I couldn't do that. And now the last one is 16, and he's bigger than both his brothers. He may end up at Notre Dame or OU.
Ooh, okay.
He getting a lot of stuff going with him right now. But again, he's the baby and he's the mama's boy. So if USC call, everybody else can say forget it, because he is trying to stay by his mama.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Problem with them mama boys. Now I'm playing.
I know. I got one.
So let me ask you this. Okay, I have a daughter. She's a junior. Well, let me go back. With Jordan, it wasn't that it was a lot of D1s. Jordan just really because I'm big on character building. And so when when he decided this is what he wanted to do and play football, I dealt more with the character side. And I always let him know, if you ever want to quit, like, I don't want to play football no more, I'm okay. It's okay. I'm not trying to push you to be this famous football player, but have a backup plan, but let's deal with the character side. So Jordan always just was one of those kids that would just really work hard. No matter what the coach asked, he worked hard. So, and Stoops' brother, I think it was Stu at the time, he was on defense, so he was looking at another kid and saw Jordan. Because he was always considered the underdog, overlooked, but yet he was like Mr. Oklahoman. He made All-American. And so that's how he ended up at OU. And so they gave us a call. He went and tried out and went to the camp. That was that. My second oldest, because of a knee injury, he didn't end up being able to go to a full, like a D1 or D2. But can you believe he picked a college in Utah, Ephraim, right? I said, you're going where? He said, Ephraim. It was a population of 9,000. Wow. He loved it. He said, Mom, he loved it because he's not that I'm going out to the club and party. He's not that type of person. He actually loved Ephraim. And so when I would tell people, they were like, where is that? I was like, it's in Utah. It's like there was one Walmart. The movies were there was no rated R movies because they're Mormons, right?
Mormons.
Yeah. It's dry.
Right. There's no liquor stores. So he was just, he actually loved it. So now I have my daughter, who's a junior, so I'm getting to that. She's in the 11th grade. So this is different for me as far as recruiting goes because I'm dealing with basketball. So
Whole
we'll
nother world.
a whole other
Whole
world.
network. Mm-hmm.
I do know there's, I think from her coach, because she played AAU,
Yep.
and they did recruiting. And from my understanding, there's like 2 or 3 that are interested, and one of them is at HBCU college. But she wants to be she wants to go to Washington. She wants to be, what is it? I can't think of the name. A Husky. She wants to be a Husky.
Mm-hmm. My girlfriend's daughter just got a scholarship there for basketball.
So you want to go here, University of
Yeah.
Washington?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I do the recruiting process with her? Because this is a whole nother. It's different than football.
So basketball. So I do every sport, by the way, as well. Football is always the staple in any recruiting company because football, the numbers from a sales standpoint. When you go to a high school, if you do a presentation or you're working with a high school football players, you can sign up anywhere from 6 to 8 to 12 guys at one time. When you do basketball, you're going to do 1 or 2, baseball 1 or 2. So it's a little different. But basketball, you said it, it's all AAU. It's all about your travel team and working. Like basketball has gotten to the point now where you don't even need to play high school basketball. Like high school basketball is just what you do to keep going.
Right.
But recruiting happens on the AAU circuit. That's where it's at. And if you guys would ever watch a documentary, it's called At All Costs. At All Costs. It used to be on Netflix. It's about the whole basketball recruiting. A lot of my friends are in this documentary from LA that but that's what it's about. It's about recruiting from that is the travel circuit. Are you on the right circuit? Are you playing 2 weeks in Nike and Peach Jam? Are you going to Adidas to Vegas? Are you in the top one in Oklahoma or Texas? Are you, and that's what it comes down to. It's really not about high school. And basketball is really the way where the football coaches have gotten really crazy with 7-on-7 because they don't want 7-on-7 to become what AAU basketball has become from a recruiting perspective for high school football because they're like, they don't even, basketball coaches sometimes, high school basketball coaches, they just hear about offers their kids have. They're like, he's got 9 or 10 offers on this kid on my team. They never even talk to the coaches, the college coaches, because they talk to the AAU coach. They don't even talk to him. So women's basketball basketball is a whole other monster because the money. I mean, the amount of money that's in basketball, it's different. And even with women's basketball right now, it is just grown and grown and grown. And they have the backing of the NBA and women's college basketball. My niece plays at San Jose State. I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
So her whole recruiting came from travel ball.
Yeah, it's so different. I played college basketball at University of Michigan. So when I was in high school, I told my niece today, I was able to play basketball, I played volleyball, and I ran track. So I got to do all the different sports I loved. And I would go to, I'm from Columbus, Ohio, but I went to Michigan. But I would go to different camps, like you said, to get noticed. Whereas now it's all about AAU. You can't even play other sports, really. It's like you have to be kind of one-dimensional. That's what I don't like about sports.
Specialized. So what's happening is but that becomes because there's so many kids. So imagine this. You guys have the football guys. If that football player finishes football in December and then plays basketball right when, and you have skill guys. So you have wide receivers. I see a number 50. So that's like linebacker. You got
56.
Linebacker. You got linebacker. Karen, what did your son play?
He played offense tackle.
Okay, so now the offensive tackle guy can run track or throw the shot put, discus or whatever. He's okay. But the skill guys, there's so many wideouts, so many DBs, so many quarterbacks, So many linebackers with the game changing. If you go play basketball and run track, and all these guys are playing 7-on-7, the writers drive recruiting. So the writers are at 7-on-7. They're not at your high school track meet. They're watching this kid. So now this kid gets a bump on you because the writers wrote about him. And now he gets a rank because the writers wrote about him. You're still over here running track, getting faster, getting stronger, getting better, but no one knows you because you're not on the circuit. So it's the same thing. Like the kids are forced to pick and choose and specialize because it's about name recognition. It's about who people know. And I can tell you, I can get on the phone with coaches and go, hey, this kid, and the good coaches ask still, does he run track? Yes. They ask. The coaches that are trying to get the 5-star guy or the guy that that's not, they don't care. They're like, oh, he can play. I like him. Whatever. They don't know. They're taking who's hot now, and that's why the transfer portal looks like it looks. Because you can get a lot of kids that are hype kids. They got stars and they've been to every camp and they're 7-on-7. Coach knows the guy to talk to, but the real athlete is still over actually getting better, cross training and other sports. You know, and that's
I agree.
It's unfortunate, but I understand it from the recruiting side. It's like if you don't go, so you have to know how to pick the stuff. Like early on in those early track meets to get going, you might go, this weekend he's not running, he's going to Pylon, to a top 7-on-7 camp. He'll be back. So you got to be able to work that. And that's where you make that deal with that high school coach early, because then that's when parents start getting into it with his coach. Oh, he don't want him to run. He said if he don't come in his track meet, he's off the team. He's playing 7-on-7 and he's running track. Now, you know, the basketball coach is saying he like him to play basketball too. It's just tough. It's just tough to be a kid, you know.
That makes sense.
It is tough to be a kid. So my oldest daughter, she played volleyball, Dejon, and there was not one coach that came to her high school volleyball games. She would not have gone D1 if she had not played club volleyball. And back in the time, about 10 years ago, there was just a sprinkle of women of color. Like you would go to a tournament where there was over 200 teams there, and you might see 10 women of color. So it's opened up a lot more. Volleyball is tough.
Volleyball is tough, and volleyball, well, you know, part of the other reason is bless you, because volleyball on the low end is about $15,000.
It is.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The low
Travel club team is expensive. But when I tell you, God bless that. And then she went on to play professional volleyball in Germany.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And that's the big part, is if you make the top team, you paying the top money because they're going every week somewhere. And you're like, oh, I hope she makes it. They ain't showed you the bill yet.
Oh no. You signed the contract. You know the bill before you get started. Like you know, they got you signed in. Yeah. You know how much.
If she makes the second team, she's gonna do these tournaments. But if she makes the top team, it's gonna be here.
Yes.
That's pressure too. That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
So that's where, and that's the other thing. You know, you live in areas where parents don't know. Everybody pays. Somewhere in there, everybody. I've been blessed with my sons that there's deals being made, but I pay. I have to pay for a trainer. I have to pay for something. You know, I had one guy say, don't use the service. A lot of parents go, well, I'm not going to use the service. I get it. It's different when I call and you call. Different when I email and you email. Coaches will tell you right now, he go one of them mamas that got the best kid in the world.
That's mamas.
I've been there with the daddy. They be like, who is that? Is that his daddy again?
You know what? I haven't been one of those that done that. I can truly say I've been blessed, especially because of Jordan and him opening the door and being a Smallwood, and then when they hear that he has siblings, it kind of automatically rings through the air, and that's kind of how things have happened with him when he first started, and they knew he had a brother, and so everybody was watching him, and then they knew they know he has a sister, and so everybody's kind of peeking and seeing who she is and where she's at. So, and then there's twins, and I have last two, they're 14, they're in 8th grade, and so I'm not the one that do the calling and the recruiting, because like you said, and I'm not going to sit here and say my kid's the best. I deal with character. That's huge for me. I'm not going to, because technically my second oldest is actually a little bit better than my oldest,
Right.
But they're all good, but I'm not going to go in there and say I got a number one kid, right? I'm just, because everybody kid has the potential of being good. I just want to make sure when mine go that their character is solid. That's more important to me than anything else, because football doesn't last forever. Sports doesn't last forever. You're going to have to go into corporate America, or if you want to start your own business, your character is what's going to last. Your character is what can take you to the next level, just like that. But so my focus is always on character. I never was the one to make the phone calls to the recruiters.
I was the one that was spamming the coaches on Facebook. I was sending that link. Hey, my son is. I was sending that link.
And you know what? It works. But I'll tell you, one of the hardest things for me is running and operating a recruiting service. I'll be so glad when my last son is done, because it's like I'm recruiting service and dad, and so now I'm like, how do you guys talk to me as dad? Like, I want to, I know the real, so don't play. Let's, like, where's my son at? And then I get in my feeling too sometimes, where I'm like, look, dude, you just offered this dude for real.
So then you become dad, because you got to separate it. It's hard separating. That's how my dad was my coach. My dad was my coach growing up, and I remember one time something happened, someone fouled me, and he comes on the court. The ref was like, "Are you dad or are you coach?" So he was like, "Right now, I'm dad. You better watch it." So it's hard to balance that. It is.
My son is benefiting. We were at a camp yesterday, and he is benefiting from his brothers as well. Two brothers playing Division I, and one of the writers was like, "Oh, Jernagins, we love those Jernagins. You got one more? Oh, he's bigger than the brothers, and he's walking. He's like, how many more you got?" And I'm like, "Man, this is it." And he's benefiting from that. But I always tell people, as dad, you go home, and he's not benefiting from it from his own perspective, because he wants to make his own way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So now I got a recruiter, all that. How are you feeling? Are you okay?
That's right.
You're not going to be fast as Isaac. Isaac's my middle one. You don't have the work ethic as the other one. Yeah, they're 5'9" and 5'10". You're 5'11", 200-some pounds. You're bigger, stronger. You're not as fast, but you're there. But how are you feeling? And so I got, there's another psychological side to that I got to deal with as dad.
That sibling rivalry.
I got to turn dad on, like, how are you doing? My wife is deaf on me, like, don't talk about football with him. Ask him about something.
That's right.
Right? So that becomes the other thing, because I'm like, hey, have you reached out to him on Twitter? What's going on Twitter? So, shut up. I don't hear nothing about no Twitter today. Right? Because
you're dad right now.
Be dad. Like, how's school going? And no matter how school was going, you got your 16 core, you got where you had the core. Everything is recruited in the house. So it's a battle. It becomes a battle with as well. So
I agree.
Coach Dejon, tell us a little bit about the expense. Like, if they wanted to use you as a recruiter, like, is it expensive? Is it something that's affordable to most of the athletes? And if not, what would be your top 3 suggestions that you would have parents or the student to do to prepare themselves for recruiting or getting themselves out there?
So when you say is it affordable, it's like you go back to like I know the standard in the industry is about anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, and I'm in the $3,400 range, right?
Mm-hmm.
So take that from a ninth grader. If I sign a kid up in our service, eighth grade going into high school, they pay one time. In the end of 4 years, I'm guaranteeing that this kid is going to be recruited and going to have offers to go somewhere. The average scholarship we were able to get last year per athlete in our service was about $28,000 a year scholarship to play. Some of those were, if I look at my board right now, some of those were like we placed 80 kids across the country, 80 kids. 63 of those were full ride scholarships. So 17 of those were just partial or whatever. You pay 30, if you gave me 4 years ago $3,500 or $3,400 and I gave you 28,000 a year times 4, did you win or did you lose?
Right.
You won. It's almost $100,000 for $3,000. We don't think that way. Guess what? So I'll say, so it's affordable, but I talk to parents about what they've spent already. So we talk about already. Take you guys. What would you think the amount of money from 6 years old, everybody played flag or something, to the end of their senior year, how much money do you think you spent in youth football to the end of high school? I'm gonna give you every piece: gas, pizza, cleats. Every dude, little kid spent the night at your house on Friday for the game.
Yeah.
You fed all those kids.
All them kids.
All
You bought extra nachos. You bought extra pizza. Everybody got Little Caesars. Y'all done had hot and ready on Friday. For 10 weeks, you was tired of pizza.
Yeah.
How much money do you think you've already invested in your kid by the time they're senior?
A lot.
Wow.
Okay, so most African American Black people, we have not put away money for college. We don't.
Right.
We spent it in registration fee for youth football.
Yeah.
Gas, pizza. Another jerk, mama, I need that arm sleeve. Oh, I want that kind of mouthpiece. I done bought cleats. I done got custom cleats. I done all of that. So
special helmet.
The helmet, the camps, all of that.
Yeah.
So by the time you tally that up, it is somewhere between $25,000 and $38,000 you've already spent before you even got a return. So when somebody tells me, well, 35 is a lot, is it? Because you already spent that.
Yeah, that's true.
Youth football in California is about, I'm just saying registration, spirit pack. You know, your mama got
spirit pack.
grandmama got it. I ain't even got to the pictures. You want the button picture and all that pack.
I wasn't one of their moms. I think I wasn't. I really wasn't one of their moms.
I got all the buttons. I
bet you still got the buttons, Stacy. Right now, you go put them buttons.
Right. I was.
Right?
Yes.
So you spent that money, but you don't have, going into high school, let's say you spent 15 of it, 15,000. From 6 years old to 14, 15 years old, now you're in high school, and you like, this 4 years is going to go by really quick. So what I would tell parents is this: if you're not going to use the service, and I'm okay, here's what I would tell you need to do. From the time your kid comes in, because there's some things that are going on with football right now, been going on. Some of y'all who live in Texas, I heard somebody say something about Texas. Yeah,
I love it.
Texas.
All y'all live in Texas. Texas has been notorious. California is just catching up with the whole holdback thing. And the whole holdback thing is really killing recruiting, because this kid that is really in the 9th grade that's 15 turning 16.
Yeah.
The other kid that's 14 turning 15 is messing that kid up. And if that kid doesn't play varsity football by his sophomore year, his recruiting goes down by 38-40%. So you have kids that are developing slower because it looks like they're developing slower because they're actually in the grade they're supposed to be in. And then you look at this other kid, and college coaches don't ask how old you are, they ask what class you are. So you're 2022, but you dang near 22.
Right. Right. Yeah. That birthday is important. Like my son had a good birthday. He had a September birthday. So because his birthday was in September, I didn't put him in school when he, you know what I mean? I put him in school the following year when he turned 6, he was turning 7.
Right.
So that worked for him.
But see, that works. I'm talking about we got the 8th grader that walked the stage in the 8th grade and showed back up in September.
Mm-hmm.
And so
you do, and you have parents that do that too to try to get an edge.
Well, it's not trying. They're getting the edge, but what's happening is now that next guy, who you like, the coaches are like, he's good. But in his class, there's, let's say in the top 100, there's 65 kids that were holdbacks that should have graduated last year. Now, mentally on the field, they think that they're more mature. Their bodies are different, right? So being the comedian I am, I always ask these guys who have daughters. So when that 19-year-old junior comes to your house, they got your 9th grade 14-year-old, how do you like that? Oh, it ain't no different. Because they like to say, oh, it ain't no different. He on varsity, he on varsity. No, you cannot tell me a 19-year-old or 18-year-old junior is his mentality is the same as the 16-year-old kid.
Right.
It's not. They're different. If that was the case, we'd have more guys going to the NFL after their freshman year of college. They don't. Because them are grown men in the NFL.
Grown men.
Right?
I had a coach ask me about my second oldest, and we wouldn't do it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna hold him back. No, he's gonna go forward. You know. So now with your services, so like I have twins that are in the 8th grade, and so actually I need to put one of them. He plays. There's not a sport he can't play, but I think his love is more leaning towards basketball. And so I know I'll probably put him in an AAU because I know 9th grade is when they start looking, but like, you know, like we were saying, I'm big on grades as well. But for your services, what about someone who, like in my situation, she's a junior. Yes, she has college looking at her because of through AAU. She only has one more year of AAU. Next year's her last year. So between now and next year, is it the same? Is it the same 35, or is it different because she's only has 2 years left?
No, so the 35 is where we start, and what I want to tell you is that we have an athleadership, like a leadership grant. So kids that have a 3.0 or better, we start taking off. We don't take off $100. We take off $500. You got a 3.2, 3.3, 3.5. There's a $500 discount. If you want free and reduced lunch, there's a $500 discount. So now you got $1,000 off of that. So there's a number of different things that we do to help reduce that cost. There's a payment plan. Well, when you talk about your daughter, it goes, okay, we look at her grades. We look at what it is, and we go, okay, we're going to break this down because we only have a certain amount of time, which makes it tougher. But what we'll do is because every student, we design a plan for that particular athlete. So that evaluation is going to come and say, she's a Division I person, Division I athlete. Where are we going to send it? We got to figure out what schools. Is she looking to go anywhere, or do we want to stay in a certain region? Now, when we stay in a certain region, we cut that cost in half. The lowest we go all the way down to the minimum is $1,000 for a student athlete. And so it would be like,
her basketball is $1,000. Now let me ask you this question: because these kids are on because of COVID, they're having to stay home.
Yep.
I have seen my daughter get good grades, but I've
Right.
seen the struggle with online learning.
Absolutely.
And I'm kind of frustrated about it because now in Texas, in Prosper, because I'm in McKinney, in Prosper, which I love what they did. What they did is they have those who went back to school, they have their teachers. Those who chose to stay home, they have specific online teachers for them, which I love because the ones in class, that teacher can focus on them. The ones that are at home, there's a set of teachers for them. But when you have a teacher who has to try to focus online and in the class, somebody's gonna fall through. And I'm starting to see the online kids are because their teachers can't give enough to focus on them because they have kids online. So I'm seeing her really like, Mom, this is challenging for me. Like this online, she's really trying. So how do you, when you see a situation like that, how do you address it when these kids are like, they maintain, I mean, she's made honor roll, she's maintained great grades, but this online has been a challenge for a lot of students.
Yeah, so my wife's a teacher. So one of the things that we have, I have a podcast show you guys may know. It's called The Streets Take, and we're doing tomorrow. And I have a licensed education psychologist coming on my show tomorrow because a lot of the kids, a lot of these administrators in these districts across the country are not dealing with the mental health side of what's going on with these kids. With everything you just said, I just had this meeting on Friday about this because I have kids that I'm dealing with and recruiting that were like 3, 3, 3, 4. They're like 3, 0, 2, 8, 2, 9 because they're just not getting it. And so one of the things that I really appreciate is that a lot of the college coaches, they understand that. Like, hey, if you see a slip there, you know that's when this. And so everybody is seeing it across the board. One of the things that we talked about, study groups inside these clusters of something like this StreamYard or Zoom or whatever, and getting in study groups so these kids can see other people outside of just everybody at the house. So we're trying to figure all kinds of things to help the kids out with that because COVID has really damaged recruiting. College coaches can't come out and see kids. There was no camp season. I don't know about AAU. There was no AAU on the West Coast, like California, Vegas. All that stuff was shut down. So a lot of the kids, like if you I have like having a son now. Right now, we would be going into game 5, game 6. These kids don't know what to do on Friday night. Now they've been doing this since they were 6 years old. They looking around like, oh my God, Friday night. My son just looking like, I'm bored. I don't know what to do. You can only play the video game so much. You can only lift weights so much. You can only work out so much. So it's like, all right, I'm trying to learn how to do stuff I don't do. I don't camp. So let's go camping. Let's find something with some side dorms. I don't do bears and animals either. So let's go.
Right. That's funny.
I don't know. It's like sharpening your sword in other areas. Like you gotta figure it out. But yeah, with that, I think it's really staying in tune. And they're tired. The teachers are tired of hearing from the parents. My wife teaches 2nd grade. Do you imagine 2nd graders on Zoom? They just doing this all day. One boy got his screen like this all day. He don't even see him. He's like,
no, wait, listen, I have 2 and 14, right? So I come downstairs, and one of them got a towel on his head sitting like this. I'm like, if you don't get that child off your head,
that's funny.
And then next thing you know, one's up cooking, and I'm like, ain't you in class? And he's cooking.
And my wife, she's in the hood school. So she got parents that forget they on Zoom. Bring me the remote control. I'm in class, mama.
Oh my
You better get that
God.
remote. That is funny. That is so true.
Teacher, I gotta go get the remote from my mom.
I'll be back.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's
Like it's
crazy.
like my wife has never been this tired. Like, cause you can send kids to the office, you can like, I'm not dealing with her today. Like I'm sitting there, one girl, first day of school, with all her teddy bears and all around her, like I'm here. She's like,
With my friends.
like, no, you need to be at the table. We told your mom, and then you have people, it's just like it's crazy. They don't get it, and it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, teachers are wanting to quit. I talked to my cousin today. She's a teacher, and she said I'm frustrated because she's doing what you said, Shannon. She's having to do both kids, and she said I can't handle both kids. And then there's phase 1, phase 2, or whatever. So then she has to have a whole different group of kids she has to learn. So teachers are wanting to quit. How can you give your best when you're not, given the best circumstances?
And they have to carry
about the Harlem Globetrotter, because I've always wanted to be a Harlem Globetrotter. What was your name?
I told y'all didn't even catch it.
What?
I was a mustard man because of Dejon. I'm Dejon.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. The mustard man.
The mustard man. That's what I was like. I felt I had to do something with Dejon or something like that. But okay.
So name is always something that they do or whatever. I was a dribbler. Came in, so I played on both teams. So everybody know it's a show. I played on the New York Nationals, which was the team we played against. We traveled together. We played against them. Started off, Globetrotters brought me in. I literally, first time I got in, I got cut. I'm like, how you cut from a circus? This is a circus.
Oh my God.
I was like, how did you get cut?
Like, why I get cut? And it was like, I was devastated because I was like, I'm a real hooper. I don't get cut from the clown dudes, right? So they called me back, and it was like, it was just, it's still marketing at that time. It's like, we got these guys that play. You played at Fresno. These guys played at UCLA. I played with some guys that played at Memphis. Michael Wilding Wilson, who played with Penny Hardaway, and they were at bigger schools. And they did, they were bigger names at their colleges. So it's all about the ticket draw and what have you. And then so they were like, they called me back and was like, do you want to play for the Nationals? And I was just like, I'm getting paid to do what I love. Let me go play. And then when I get out there now, I got to be the guy that's getting clowned. So the first 6 minutes of every game is real. So one of the guys told me, said, hey, during that 6 minutes, just go. Do what you do. And I just started going. And then one day they were like, hey, you go into the other locker room. We got your stuff. So I had to go and play on the other side. So that was cool. Touring with the Globetrotters is like great experience. All of those things I wouldn't change it again. It helped me.
Yeah. I used to go to all those games. I loved it.
Just found out I got cut because I don't tell people I got cut.
But
that's part of your failure. See, that's part of your failure.
Yeah.
That's your failure.
Hey, that's that one failure with the Globetrotter. That's like, that's
right.
like,
You didn't close your eyes and see yourself getting cut. Like, I'm gonna get cut.
And the thing is, the Globetrotters really prepared me for the stage because it was like, one thing about a comic, every comic tries to say, I never bombed. I've never got booed off. I never got booed off, but I bombed, and I was like, okay, I'm getting out of here. Like, what joke am I going to tell the lead? So, everybody had a tough time, and the Globetrotters prepared me for that because, you come out, and some days we travel 9 months out of the year. I had like 3 days off. And
wow.
Some nights you get out there and they want you to, Sweet Georgia Brown, everybody laughing. Like, I don't even feel like playing today.
Sweet Georgia Brown. How you know about that, Sweet Georgia Brown?
Okay.
That's what they play.
They do. Yeah, I love it.
You doing that, you trying to spin the ball and laugh, and you like, I don't know, this kid come over here and ask me to spin this ball one more time. You
always got to be smiling and happy and all that.
And the worst thing is with the Globetrotters, I took it off my resume when I came home because, true story, I would go into job interviews and I was like, I got to do my own thing. Like, I literally got to do my own thing. I would go into stuff and people be like I'd be in this interview and the guy be like, you play for the Globetrotters? Oh, wait a minute, I got a ball. And they go get a ball. And I'm in the interview. I'm doing everything. And I'm like, okay, and then you get this call. We're sorry.
Right.
We didn't get the job. I spent the ball for 30 years and didn't get the job. I'm high.
That is funny. That's funny. You spinning
So
the
I
ball.
took that off. I get this off my resume. And I just tell people later, like, play with the Globetrotters, and I just try to brush over it because I'm telling you right now, I don't know how many interviews I'm in there dribbling in a 3-piece suit trying to get the job.
Oh, man, that's
funny.
hilarious.
I love it.
All right, so can you tell everybody how to find you if they would like more information about what you do in the recruiting process? We're going to probably end up having a part 2 because there's still so much more that we need to talk about recruiting.
Absolutely.
Especially with the COVID situation because it's all messed up now. So those who got to keep, they're given that extra year to, especially in the spring sport. And then now no one's knowing if schools are going to close down. So we won't know till what, end of October, December, November.
Yeah, so with us in California, so I moved my kid from public to private. So my son is in private school. So what we have right now is we have a lot of public schools that are talking about, the California Interscholastic Federation is leaving it up to your district. When you're a private school, you don't have a district. So our diocese says we can play at the private school level. We're going to play. The private school, they're going to have to wait for their district. The districts are saying, if you're not in school by October 23rd, when this quarter ends, November 1st, we are not going to have sports. So for a lot of parents, using a service is like almost a must. We have become the eyes and ears for colleges. The NCAA just put out dead period to January 2021. So that means these coaches can't even come out and see you until January. And now all these schools are playing. So the Mountain West just went back. Pac-12 is going to go back. These coaches are all about, we've been waiting. They're about playing. So recruiting is really on hold. And if you don't play, if you're in a public school and you don't play, how are they going to get to see you? So what we do and what we're telling a lot of parents as I close this out is California recruits, but I will tell parents if they don't use the service, you need 2 videos per week up on Twitter. You need to be following the right coaches. Now, that's where a service comes in because if your kid hasn't been evaluated the right way, you can be sending your stuff to Notre Dame and Oklahoma when you're not that caliber of a kid. So you got to get with somebody that's going to tell you the truth and put you in the right position so you can contact the right schools. So at that time, now those schools will start getting with you. There are, and I will tell you this until all you guys did that. The lower levels, quote unquote, Division I, Division I AA, Division II, NAIA, they're going to flourish because of this if people do it the right way. Because those bigger D1s, they're dropping their numbers now because they're allowing to come back. They're saying, hey, we're not going to recruit as many guys because we didn't get to evaluate guys. So because of that, your D2 schools are going to say, hey, we got room and we got money. So parents could be really, really looking at the alternative and reevaluating where their kid is and saying, hey, you're not going to OU, but guess what? Oklahoma Panhandle look good, right? Langston look good. Langston look good. You're not going to TCU, but Abilene Christian look good. Like
Jackson State.
Hey, you got to go rock with Dejon all day.
Yeah.
So it's going to change.
And the HBCU schools for where you guys are, California, is tough. There's not a kid down there that these coaches don't. I'm part of the Black Coach Association. I'm telling you right now, those guys, they love Texas kids, but the kids got to go to TCU, go to Prairie View, go get into these schools. Give those coaches an opportunity. Give those schools an opportunity right now while you think, And guess what? At the end of the day, you go play 1 year and you ball out, go on the portal, transfer.
Oh yeah, transfer after that year. That's a good. Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
do not, in closing, do not shun any school.
That's right.
Do not shun anybody. Because at the end of the day, they're not coming to get a lot of these the worst part of this whole thing is junior college football is suffering. They got too many kids to choose from to go look at a JC guy. And a lot of people are like, I'm gonna just go to JC. You'll be at JC, and then you're gonna end up at an NAIA Division II anyway.
Yeah.
So why not go out of high school?
That's
Go
true.
down.
That's true.
Wow.
That's good advice. Great advice.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all fun.
Yes.
You playing too? You
Like I
playing?
said, we have to do a part 2 because there's still so many questions. Again, no one knows because if they shut down the schools again, we're back at it all over again. So,
Yeah.
But all right. Well, thank you for joining the show. I and my husband actually will be in contact because I do have questions about my daughter, and I want to make sure, you know, she's not falling through the cracks and things are still going. Because, like I said, basketball is totally different.
And I'm about gifts. So y'all go in there. God can supply CO breast. There it is. The God can supply CO. Go look at the shirt that says God can, part of the God Can comedy tour this month, breast cancer awareness. We have the pink God Can shirts. Each one of you guys, I know it was another lady too, so she was on. I gotta make sure she get a shirt. If you guys can
I like gifts. Yes.
For having me on, I give. I like. I mean, I want to be able to bless you guys.
Okay. And I love to receive.
God can, whatever it is, He got it.
All right, God got it. God got it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining the show. Listen.
Thank you.
Put back up the recruiting. Can you put that back up for us? The recruiting. Listen, if your son or your daughter is going through the recruiting process, if you have questions, please reach out to this organization. Please reach out to this company and ask the questions because, you know, you don't want your child to fall through the cracks. Now, listen, don't be one of them mamas and daddies calling talking about my kid is good and this is where I want to go. No. Why don't you just call and learn and listen?
Free evaluation. It don't cost you nothing. Nothing. Free profile. I do a free profile for you, just like NCSA. All the free. Just like
I love it.
We like free.
Get free and get educated. All right, this is your girl Jernagin. We talk sports. I'm here with my host,
Karen,
and
Carmen, aka Mama D,
and Stacy.
All right, we will be back next Thursday with another great show. You guys have a great evening. Good night.
Bye-bye.